Hi friends, I want to share with you a video today about a word. It's a very powerful word, it's a very small word, but it's very mighty in its own when it's by itself in a sentence in the form of a question. And that word is why. And I want to share this with you because I was remembering a story that one of my meditation teachers had shared with me about a little girl asking her mother why she was making dinner a certain way. And, as adults, we don't ask ourselves why very often about anything, but as children we did. And if you have little ones around, I'm sure you hear it all day long. Why do we do this? Why do we have to go here? Why did that happen when I touched that thing I wasn't supposed to touch? So we're very inquisitive when we're younger as to ask the question why, but as we get older, we stop asking the question. And it's usually because we have created this systematic ritual within ourselves, either from creating these routines that we have done, or these thought processes that we have done, or from whatever media content we've been, sucking in. It becomes habitual and repetitive within our brains, and then we don't even think about what we're doing half the time, let alone why we're doing or saying or thinking the things that we are doing or saying or thinking. So the story goes, there's a little girl in the kitchen with her mother, and her mother's making a ham for dinner. And her mom goes to put the ham in the pan, but before she does, she chops off the end of the ham. Now, there's nothing wrong with the end of the ham, and the ham fits perfectly fine in the pan, but she still chops the end. So the daughter, looking at her mother inquisitively, wondering why she did that, asked her mom, "Why did you just cut off the end of the ham? Like, why do you do that?" And she said, "I don't know. When, my mom was teaching me how to cook, that's what my mom always did, so I just cut off the end of the ham." She said, "Well, that's a very good question, though, so I'll call your grandmother and I'll ask your grandmother why she cuts off the end of the ham." So they call, and she says, "Well, when my mother was teaching me how to cook, that's how she taught me how to cook the ham. We just cut off the end of the ham. So because she did it, I do it." She's like, "But that is a good question. Let me call your grandmother and ask her." So she calls her grandmother. Now it's fourth generation back now, as to why she cuts the end of the ham off. And she said, "Well, when your father and I first got married, we lived in a little apartment and we had a little tiny stove." So waiting to hear this, miraculous reason as to why they cut the end of the ham off, like it's going to be like this, mind-blowing reason, she says, "The ham didn't fit in the pan, so I had to cut the end of the ham off. And as years went on, that's just what I always did. And even when we moved and bought a new house with a bigger stove, I just continued to cut the ham." So the point is that had that girl not asked her mother why she was cutting off the end of the ham, she would have continued a legacy throughout her family of cutting off something that was not necessary, doing something that didn't need to be done, and preventing her family from having more of what they should rightfully have, because somebody somewhere down the line just systematically continued to act the way that they did. Even though as times changed and times changed and they've changed and evolved, they continue to still do the same thing, time in and time out. So had that little girl not asked that question, she would have continued to cut off the end of the ham, and when she got older, her family would still have less instead of having more to share. But now, because she asked that question, she has the power to change that. So I offer to you to start asking yourself why. Why do you think the things that you think? Why do you do the things that you do? Why do you say the things that you do? And you might not like the answer to the things that you do and say, but you'll understand why. And here's the thing. You have the power to change it, because everything we do and say, we've created ourselves, because the power is within us to do whatever it is that we want to. Our thoughts are powered by ourselves. Nobody puts the thoughts in your brain. They might kind of, you know, throw crap to you all the time, but you have the power to shut that off and to think on your own. So if something doesn't make sense to you, if something doesn't sit right with you, you have the power within you to change it. All you have to do is want it. So again, I offer to you to start asking yourself, why? Why do I think these things? Why do I say these things? Why do I do these things? And then you can become the change in the world that you would like to see and the world that you want. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying safe. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to me. And until next time.